Dire Team Band, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back again. We're here for the Shanghai Dota 2 Open. Vici Gaming facing off against IG.Vitality. I know before the schedule, PogChamp, my goodness gracious, we did it. We actually made it happen. Tsunami, how you doing? How you feeling about this game? And what are you hoping to see out of these players?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling also very concerned for Angelai's mental state right now, but I guess we'll see how he fares this game.
My goodness, it should be good. I'm really excited. Yeah, I think that, well, I don't know. I think you can shrug that stuff off probably. Like you said, it's happened to everybody. If you're a professional player, you know, you've missed a spell at some point. It isn't the biggest issue in the world, but yeah, it definitely hurts. I think probably it's more just like, he's like, why did you draft me this hero? Why I have to, you know, make this happen? Why is this draft? IG.Vitality are going to take the Bounty Hunter this time around.
Yeah, they are, and again, I'm seeing a Riki first man. Vici must have, like, there must be very familiar either with IG.Vitality or they really have issues with Riki as a hero, because, again, IO is slipping through the ban phase. Vici obviously was able to handle it just fine, so I'm not surprised that they're not banning it. And IG.Vitality, they saw how well the Bounty Hunter worked out last game. Maybe it's a denial pick, but they pick it up, and Vici Gaming follows up with an OD and Ogre Magi.
Oh my goodness. What a hero. I love this guy. I feel like he's always just such a bully in lane, and you can run him in the mid there to try and help out the OD slightly, throw a few ignites the other direction. But do you think that it sort of gives away the game a little bit, that this is something that he could be doing and that you pick a more tanky hero? Or do you think that Vici Gaming aren't too worried about that?
5 seconds remaining.
I think Ogre Magi in general has become a more stable pick. He's not as predictable, like you said. It doesn't telegraph very much. Ogre Magi, he fits into a lot of lineups. You can build him a lot of ways. You can see max ignite if you're trying to do something more roam heavy, more support heavy, and you can see max bloodlust if you want to go for more anti-push, more aggression. So Ogre Magi, I think, is a relatively safe pick. And Axe, on the other hand, he's a real feast or famine type hero, and Bounty Hunter definitely helps him feast, but it doesn't guarantee any farm for an Axe. It just really depends on how his laning phase goes.
Well, and that's the thing that I found really interesting, is that each and every game that we've seen with Axe so far throughout this tournament, every single one of them, he's gone, I believe, straight to the Iron Talon jungling, gets a Vanguard first, goes take a stacks of Ancients, and then has a Blink Dagger in like no time at all. And the things that tended to be used to stop him is trying to bring in a hero like a Bounty Hunter or like a Riki to mess around slightly in the jungle and just counter out that potential for you know, jungling away on the Axe. The other thing was having other heroes roam into the jungle and mess around with him at a little bit of a later stage. But the problem is, if you leave him alone for 4 minutes in the jungle, he can get to level 6 by that point if you're not careful.
Yeah, definitely. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a strong roamer coming out of Vici Gaming. And I see the Slardar ban. I wouldn't mind seeing something like a Mirana ban as well. But Vici Gaming actually opting to ban out the Silencer. I'm trying to piece together what Vici is trying to go for with their draft here, because they haven't shown very much, and their bans are kind of all over the place here. I mean, they're banning out, I guess,
10 seconds remaining.
Counter initiators, I suppose. I haven't seen Silencer have very much success at all in most recent tournaments. Like, have you seen evidence to the opposite?
Reserve time.
What was the match? No, it was something. It was the Nyx assassin that countered OD pretty hard in the mid lane that we saw the other night. Silencer, I think we also saw him played against Storm, where he obviously countered out really hard the Storm Spirit. So I guess that he could work in a similar type of way for an OD potentially. I guess the thing is just like the long range, particularly since OD has relatively short. I think OD's range is 450 and Silencer's is like 600. So you can basically just Glaives harass forever.
That's true, and that would be a bit of an issue. And last ban from IG.Vitality is actually going to be an Earth Spirit. So they're definitely, IG.Vitality, as you suspected, they're concerned about roamers, people who can bother this Axe. I think that right now IG.Vitality, after that last game, they tried to do semi-push comp Drow Aura type strategy. It fell apart. They might pivot to a more aggressive play here, see how Vici Gaming can defend against that.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's the sort of the other option as well. The third pick now coming out for them, and As far as what they might be looking for, the Slardar has already been banned out. I think that OD works pretty well for being able to take Roshan. Just that pure damage, obviously burning through the armor that he's got. Just really high amount of damage. But for my money, I feel like you do need another hero that can pair with this Ogre to try and roam in and mess with the axe slightly. I'm not really sure who that looks like, though, since they've already banned out the Earth Spirit.
Yeah, and that's kind of a... It'll domino into multiple picks, because if you want to pick someone who can help this Ogre, you know, be buddy-buddy while traversing the map, then you also want to pick a carry that can be very self-sufficient, doesn't really need babysitting, especially doesn't need babysitting against the threat of a bounty hunter prowling around.
Yeah. Well, and I guess the other thing, too, to worry about is if you pick a weak enough safe lane, Axe can just go into lane, which is something, like I said, we haven't seen in a lot of these Chinese games, but it's definitely a possibility. So, I don't know. Taking a lot of time with it, though. Did their drafter disconnect? What the heck is going on? They do go for the Shadow Demon. This was obviously one of those high priority picks. Leaves open the possibility for a Luna or one of those other, Terrorblade type of heroes as well.
Yeah, and as a roaming combination with just the Ogre Magi, I also think he's pretty good. Shadow Poison's initial damage got nerfed in 6.88E, but that was hardly the reason that you picked Shadow Demon. If you are maxing Poison, you're doing it because you plan on getting stacks on the enemy, not because you're banking on burning off all their raindrops. And IG.Vitality pick up the Juggernaut, which is something that I would have wanted to see out of Vici, because Juggernaut can stand very well against the threat of a bounty hunter and does well in lane against an axe as well.
Yeah, that is something to keep in mind there. It would have been an interesting look for it. As my coffee pot is making noise over their side. Sorry if that got picked up by the mic.
5 seconds remaining.
But yeah, it's a little bit of an interesting look now too, because I haven't seen a Shadow Demon versus Axe lane. I remember a lot of times playing pubs and seeing in professional games where Shadow Demon would go up against a Darkseer and he was able to completely zone him out before the nerfs to that Shadow Poison initial damage like you talked about. I'm wondering now if possibly we can see a Shadow Demon level 1 zone out an Axe with just Shadow Poison.
Yeah, it's just the Shadow Demon himself probably not, but the Shadow Demon and Ogre definitely can. Okay. Obviously the other hidden bonus, which now Vici Gaming goes 2 times on, is that Axe's illusions can counter Helix, and that's a very, very whenever the interaction works the way that you want it to, you're like, oh man, this is great. As a Shadow Demon, it's wonderful because all of a sudden you farm extremely efficiently, and obviously for Morphling the case is the same.
Yeah, well, and this is going to be an interesting one. I want to see how they do. I was surprised that we didn't see the nerf to the Shadow Demon Morphling combo where you're able to get a replicate of a Shadow Demon illusion. That kind of blows my mind that that's still a thing, but whatever the case is going to be, it's still a thing that you can do in this game. And I'm wondering now if maybe they go back for something like the Lion, one of those heroes, just to get rid of all those shenanigans.
Yeah, and I mean, it got partially nerfed. The illusion damage to towers got reduced from 25 to 30%, but that was more of just like a Reddit stop talking, I'm gonna nerf this strategy, please calm down type nerf than anything, actually defining. Granted, I haven't seen very much Terrorblade Shadow Demon ever since. Maybe it had a bigger impact than I'm giving it credit for.
Yeah, that's a possibility. You never know. Now we've got the Ancient Apparition that's been taken. Another one of those nice little counters to the Morphling, being able to switch over to that strength form. But, of course, this also does kind of bring up the question of, okay, well, what are you going to do for lockdown? They have Axe Call, and that's just about it. Is this something that they need to be concerned about, or can they solve it through their last pick here?
Well, the main question I have is if this Juggernaut's going to go mid or not, because depending on where this Juggernaut decides to lane, depends on what they can go for in terms of lockdown, because if he decides to go safe lane, they have a lot more options on mobile mids and mids that have good crowd control, whereas carries don't really offer very much in terms of, being able to lock someone down, and Juggernaut as a mid doesn't offer very much either.
I kind of like the idea of maybe a Puck for IG.Vitality.
Something like a Puck or an Invoker.
Remaining.
Yeah, especially just like the initial silence coming out onto the Morphling feels like it'd be pretty strong. The only problem that I'm potentially seeing with it is that you do still run into the issue of having to lane it against an OD, which I feel like could be a bit of a rough matchup.
Dragon Knight.
But they're going to go for the DK instead.
Dire
I don't
team
know
pick.
about this one. I guess it's just going to be heavy push-up and, you know, start to take towers early on. Do you think that this can work out for IG.V?
DK seems like such a strange pick to me because Morphling replicate of a DK
10
dragon form is
seconds
great.
remaining.
Obviously, Shadow Demon disruption illusions of a DK is great. OD, like I had said last game, majority of his damage is pure. DK is not only, you know, he leans heavy into his armor, but he's also a strength hero, which means that OD's ult is gonna. Yes.
We've got more
The Razor?
off-lane Yang.
Yo!
Yeah. What the hell is going on? All right, we've got off-lane Morphlane, and the Razor is just going to destroy Dragon Knight. Oh, man. This could be rough.
Yeah, that was a real slick. That was a real slick right there, because they don't really need this Morphling to get farm. Razor and OD, like, OD is a really good one position against all of IG.Vitality's heroes right now, and DK really
10
solidified
seconds
that. And
remaining.
I don't know if Vici Gaming was planning this, but if they were, then it was a great read. And if they
5
weren't planning it, then it was a great
seconds remaining.
adaptation, because I think that Vici Gaming's draft is exceptionally strong compared to IG.Vitality's.
So the big question that I have here is, how is Yang going to play this? Is he going to go for the strength form, just throwing out those
Prepare
stuns
for battle.
consistently? It feels like that's probably the route to go. If he does, oftentimes on Morphlanes, we've seen him even like go back for an Ag Scepter sometimes. I don't know if this is the game for it necessarily. I don't think it is. But there's a lot of questions to be answered about how this Morphlane is going to play. Do you like him going the strength form this game, or do you think it's a little bit better for him to try and go for more damage?
I mean, personally, I am a huge advocate of max strength support Aether Lens Morphling. No one on my stack thinks it's good, but then we win every game and they're like, it's not because of you. And I'm like, oh, it was because of me. It's extremely risky. It's extremely, like, I don't recommend it in a professional setting at all, aside
Okay.
from when the stun actually didn't have the projectile. Then it was amazing. Then it was
30
way too good.
seconds to
Right.
battle.
But here, if they give the Morphling Ogre to babysit, he's going to be able to farm just fine in his lane because OD does not need a tri-lane.
Yeah, that's true. It's something else to keep in mind here. And I mean, they could ostensibly have 2 farming cores in the early stages of the map. But I guess that it does still feel, though, like very greedy, because IG.V is going to be about grouping up, taking towers. Like, DK is going to be moving in and, you know, going into ulti form. If
The
In July
battle
gets a good
begins.
start also, that causes some huge issues. So there's a lot on the line here, and I'm a little concerned for Vici Gaming. I initially liked the Razor pick a lot, but thinking about it more, I'm not seeing where their team fight comes from in the late game. Their AoE control.
Well, how about Razor being in the safe lane? Because it looks like what they're doing, and they're going to send the OD mid to go up against this DK.
What is happening? This is such a weird one.
Both of them are equally good against DK. Like, I still don't understand the DK. Like, this dude... So the play here, if you've been in this matchup, is you get a Soul Ring as DK because you're never going to have mana. Like, you will never have mana as a DK. But Soul Ring will always guarantee you mana no matter how much int you have. And so you'll have enough to breathe fire always. But all he's going to be able to do here is just farm, and he's not going to be able to, you know, breathe fire to push out waves and get runes and do stuff like that.
We'll see if they can possibly make this work. The Yang Ogre dual off lane. They're going to be trying to mess with Paparazzi to the best of their abilities, and meanwhile top lane stealing damage away from In July, starting to deal it, and it's a lot of damage being thrown back into his face. That's a frustrating one indeed.
Yeah, and he didn't go for anything like a Quelling Blade, so, I mean, he does have a Ring of Protection, so Iron Talon is still on the table. He may have just gone to see, like, what kind of lane Vici Gaming is putting up against him to decide whether he should commit or not. And he may just abandon the lane, let Bounty Hunter get EXP. There's a really nice Sentry Ward here by Dire to, you know, make sure that if Bounty Hunter does decide to come by, he's not going to get any easy experience. He's going to have to challenge for it, unless if he just sits in the side shop.
Yeah, that's the one way that you could potentially make it happen. It's going to be difficult no matter what. I will say though that regardless of whatever else happens, it does feel like Vici Gaming have a bit of a stronger understanding of how they want these lanes to work out. And based off of their play from last game also, I'd kind of rate them as the stronger team. So even if Vici Gaming win this, I don't know if it's completely up to the draft, but it definitely feels like they've made a lot happen with it so far. And you can see that the early dominance they're using here, I feel like a lot of it's going to be on the back of this Axe, finishing off these stacks and actually able to do stuff.
Yeah, Axe getting farm is going to be a big issue, which is why now this Ogre is coming by. And he's going to bother him.
Game is hard indeed.
Because this Ogre he has the right idea. AA couldn't do anything to zone an Ogre out. He's just tickling the Ogre. And Morphling is getting as much CS as the Juggernaut. Now the AA is going to come back, but then the Ogre will also come back to return the favor.
Well, Morphling is getting a bit more farm than his other Patriot on the other side of the map. He's almost actually caught up with the Juggernaut as well. And like you said, this Ogre is just making a lot happen early on at this inning stage. Dragonite out of mana, is going to be bringing out a bottle for himself. Do you like that as opposed to the Soul Ring?
Not really, to be honest. I don't think it's the right play here because OD is going to have... He's maxing out Astral, so really the relevance of the Soul Ring thing was back when Astral used to steal Int. He's not going to really be spamming his Arcane Orb that much in lane, but it's still going to be an issue for Cicada later on, especially whenever Ghost starts using Sanity's Eclipse. DK's mana is going to get burned, and if he gets mana burned before he can even get his ult out, it's only 50 mana, but still, DK does not have the most mana in the game.
Yeah, that's true. Dogfights gets his clarity canceled, is going to be hiding away in the trees. It's worth noting that this guy, he plays Bounty Hunter. I think that it's his most played hero, if I'm not mistaken. It might be the player that plays it the most in China, which is kind of a crazy stat whenever you have somebody that plays a hero the most out of a region. So he knows how to play it quite well, but it's been a little bit rough recently. I'm just not sure if it's necessarily the greatest. And now
an OD.
Ghost possibly going to get ran down slightly. They're going to have the Janata slow as well. Also, the DK in the area is starting to bring him low. They get the call. And now with everything being thrown back in his way, can they keep him alive? There's the kill. Dogfights draws first blood.
That was a really important kill because this is... Dire has pub levels of vision right now. OD has no vision of either of the runes. One of the wards is watching the Dire jungle right now to see what Axe is up to. And the other ward is to see what Bounty Hunter is up to in the top lane. OD has no vision, and whenever Axe isn't in, that heart of his jungle, OD doesn't know where he is, and in that case, he was going for the rune and got punished for it.
Top lane now also, they're going to be able to catch Dogfights, trying to get the kill. There's going to be the disruption, which should keep a kill secured for Dogfights, as the TP out was not going to be successful, and bottom lane applying a little bit of damage on a Paparazzi as well. He just turns back and trades a couple hits with the Ogre. So, tit for tat, 1-for-1 exchange so far as they've been able to find a kill piece.
Yeah, and this Ogre's sitting around with just a smoke in his inventory, and is yet still doing a very competent job at, keeping this Morphling safe. That's why I consider Ogre to be a very stable pick these days, because just his presence is intimidating enough to counteract a lot of aggression.
This is awkward. July, they run right into FY as well, and now if they turn away, they drop the ward as well, so they'll have a little bit of better vision this time around, but that was going to be a gank rotation in for Ghost. They don't end up finding it, and with that, looks like Ghost is going to head down towards that bottom rune, pick it up, and try and exert his dominance. DK is not having the best time, but it's not terrible. He's only, what is that, around 8 last hits behind him. It's going okay.
No, it's not terrible, and they're definitely investing to keep this DK protected. 2 Radiant wards go down on the mid lane to make sure that this DK does not fall behind, because even though they got that kill on the OD, it was split 3 ways.
Oh! Paparazzi! He was just manning up, does finally find the kill. That was really close. That could have bounced a couple of different ways that would have ended up bad, but they find the kill on the Morph. They lose the Jug in return, though.
They do, but the Jug was so low, and it was Ogre who got the kill, not the Morphling, so it's perfectly fine. You'll trade Omnislash for that.
Dogfights. Wants to slow down ZYF. Not gonna quite be able to find it as Razor backs out. Would have been a nice little catch if they could have found something, but probably a little bit too bold. And Bounty Hunter's getting closer and closer to 6. This could end up working pretty well for them. Dust available. Oh, they spot out the dogfights is there. He's in trouble. They have disruption, and can they actually find this kill? They should be able to. Yeah, there's Eye of the Storm, drop, dogfights. Looking for the deny, but not going to be able to get it.
Yeah, I'm surprised that FY didn't go for more aggressive sentry vision, because they are killing this Bounty Hunter a lot, but he's still level 5. And then the last game that we saw, Bounty Hunter was level 3 until like 10 minutes into the game, and he wasn't killed like at all. It was just, he just couldn't find ganks anywhere. This Bounty Hunter has a completely different plan. He's just gonna, you know, he's gonna be present no matter what the cost. And nice waveform on bot, and Paparazzi baits it out, goes for the Blade Fury.
All right. Well, that was... There you go. I mean, Yang is out of mana now, though. He does need to be a little bit careful as they're going to bring in Paparazzi and starting to get dropped very low. They bring him down. Ancient Apparition finds the kill.
Yeah, that kill should not have happened. Ogre Magi.
Dragon Knight taking some damage. He's getting the damage sapped away from him by End, and looks like the DK is going to have to back out again. So a lot of aggression going on in these lanes, but it feels like it's very back and forth nonetheless.
It is. And I think this works out in ig.vitality's favor to have it go back and forth, because the lanes were stronger from Vici as far as I was concerned, and so a 3-3 score right now, ig.vitality is very happy with
that. Well, in July, still a ways away from that blink. This was not that early Vanguard that I thought we might be seeing, and now he's in a little bit of trouble. Gets the call onto ZYF. A couple of spins might be going back their direction. Can they find anything? No, not going to be there. The 1 point in Soul Catcher, enough to find that kill.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Yeah, AA's TP was on cooldown. DK does not have a TP, and Juggernaut has a TP. He could have gone, but he's at like 50% HP against this Morphling's harass. And Morphling opted to make a replicate of the Jug, and Jug can't really fight his own clone. Not yet, at least.
That's a rough one. Aquila's going to be up and online relatively soon, I would imagine. For the Juggernaut, who's getting ever closer to it. But meanwhile, top lane is where the pressure is going to be exerted. Only Aquila and right now Treads for the Razor, but he still packs a whole big of punch. They're going to be able to take this one down. Dogfight still in the area. Almost level 6 available for him, so could start to find some track kills, but they just need the damage. They're kind of lacking it right now.
They definitely are, and they knew that they were going to be getting into this. Like going into the match, they knew that they would not be able to. It would be up to this Axe and this Bounty Hunter if they were going to be able to get kills. And Juggernaut being able to do as much as he has against Morphling has been a huge asset. I'm not really sure why Ogre has opted to start roaming around. I think he would have been better off if he just sat with Morphling bot. Nice scan, scouting out the Ogre rotation on mid.
They're not going to be able to catch him there. And again, dogfights just a little bit away from being able to have the track online. At the 10-minute mark, he should be able to finish it off regardless. Man, Yang taking a lot of damage from the Jug. We've seen the Morphling find it, at least help and be part of the kill. But so far, just with the Tranquils and Soul Ring, he's been kind of quiet so far this match. Oh. Dogfights, they pop the dust, they catch him, there's the Astral, and no way to save him. This should be an easy kill.
These dusts are so good. They didn't even... I don't think that they scanned for it. I think they just guessed, you know, Bounty Hunter, 10 minutes. He's probably going to be going for the rune. All 5 of us are here, let's just smoke. I mean, let's just dust.
Yeah, doesn't cost him a whole lot. Did AA eat that? Oh, he did actually end up eating it. So they're going to opt to give the tome over to the Ancient Apparition since Bounty Hunter is so close to track already that they give the little injection of gold going back the other way. Now Paparazzi waveform forward. They do have the Bounty Hunters roaming in and have the healing ward down as well. Track onto Shadow Demon. They are not going to opt for a dive at this point. A blast going to come in a bit off the mark. Oh my god, would they actually catch him now? Soul Catcher down as well. Oh, pretty good value Fury away. He's going to be fine for the moment. Yang stunned and killed. Now End diving for this one. They have the Omni Slash. He gets it off, but the disruption's going to be able to keep him alive. And Razor killed off the Jug as soon as he came out of that Omni. Dogfights does go down. And 2-3 tracks went out, but I don't think any of those were track kills.
Not yet, and now they're going to go for more.
And they've been able to catch him. Left alone, a blast trying to
dream.
find him. Not going to be there. Does get one, but It wasn't the one they were looking for.
Dire's
It would have been
top
two,
tower
but
is
they'll be
under
happy
attack.
with that one. It was, I thought the fight was going very well for IG at the beginning, but this Morphling, he keeps kind of staying at very low mana. He got stunned by that DK and he was just gone out of the fight, but everyone else on
Radiant's
Vici is so
bottom
tanky.
tower is
Ogre is so
under attack.
tanky. OD is so tanky. And this Razor is obviously extremely
Radiant
tanky, and
structures
they
are
just
fortified.
can't take damage. IG Vitality does not have the damage potential outside of something like an Omni Slash at this stage of the game.
That was a really good
Dire's structures
lift as
are
well.
fortified.
It saved
Radiant's bottom
Paparazzi's
tower
life, I think,
has
because if
been
they kill the
denied.
tower right there and, you know, some people are able to, if nobody's able to TP in, I think that they do just kill the Jug. But regardless, Ghost gonna head over towards the mid lane, has the haste rune up and online. They drop the ultimate onto the Dragon Knight. He has 4 stacks up. They also get the Astral now. Not sure if that damage is gonna persist through there. 5 stacks of Shadow Poison, dealing the damage, and it's enough to find the kill. Shadow Demon getting it now, turning mid lane, dogfights, takes down the Ogre with a little bit of a track to go his way as well.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Okay, so that last kill kind of balances it out since it was a track kill, but DK dying, that was a really good initiation by Shadow Demon. As soon as OD picked up the haste rune, Shadow Demon was like, alright, we can definitely get this kill. Went for the disruption, got a soul catcher that was the easiest soul catcher of his life, and with 5 stacks of Shadow Poison and 20% bonus damage from the soul catcher, DK's armor does not mean anything.
This is, we talk about how this game has really gone out, and to me at least, it feels like it's the story of that mid matchup. You've got this OD who's just been fabulous, playing it to perfection, Dragonlance now in hand, and then kind of just a dreadful game for the DK. He's been stuck now just on treads, has the Quelling Blade, and not a whole lot else. How do you try and recover at this point if you're a Dragon Knight?
He just has to participate in team fights with the Bounty Hunter. They need to get track kills because Axe has his Blink Dagger, and he actually is going to blink in on the OD.
Dire's bottom tower
Astral,
is under attack.
he's in some trouble. It's not where you want to be, Mr. Axe. He's going to be able to think about trying to make something happen, but nothing doing. Oh, lordy. What a blink
That was
reveal.
extremely aggressive. Maybe he didn't read those 6.88E nerfs to the counter helix damage because he was diving under a
Dire's
tower,
middle tower
and
is under attack.
it's a tier 1 tower. There are going to be rotations, especially against an OD. And
I think
that was
it
a Blink Dagger reveal as well.
Super's going to get caught in the jungle. I think that it was a little bit of a miscalculation for them as well. They wanted to try and get it as the A blast came in, but it wasn't quite on time. Now DZ caught by the stun, but there's going to be the catch turnaround. Oh God, Dragon Knight, say it ain't so, going down again. A triple kill for Ghost. 14 minutes in, FY with the saves continuously for every hero.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
This is so frustrating if you're IG.V because, like, either way, like, let's say you start a fight, someone's gonna get imprisoned, either disruption or imprison. If you're trying to run away from a fight, same thing's gonna happen. One of you is gonna get either disrupted or imprisoned. And then you need to make a decision. Can we take this fight, or do we just let this person die? And it feels like no matter what you choose, it's always the wrong answer.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
This is starting to feel more and more like Vici Gaming are just running away with it, and it hasn't necessarily been off the back of any super
Dire's
flashy
top
plays. It just
tower
feels
is
like they have
under
a very
attack.
strong draft altogether. Like they
Dire's
won their
top
lanes
tower has
pretty
fallen.
hard and haven't really looked back since then. Vici Gaming looking incredibly good in this one. And they looked strong the other days in their games that they're playing too, but the smoke gank might come out now. They're gonna run into
smoke
dog
ganks.
fights. Oh, in July, jump forward, doesn't hit the call. Oh God, and now he's stunned for days. He's gone, so dogfights drops, now goes turning on to in July. There's another one for you, double kill for the OD. Never stop in Dota.
That was a Hail Mary smoke. They had no vision, and going up 2 sets of stairs with no vision, you're asking for trouble. And thankfully, it was only just 2 heroes of IG.V, and it wasn't like a 5-man smoke or anything
Dire's
like
top
that. But
tower is
that could have gone a
under
lot
attack.
worse, and IG Vitality are kind of scrambling for whatever they can get right now, and nothing seems to be panning out.
Oh, Paparazzi, no! There's the Astral, he goes forward, he ends up getting stunned, he wanted to TP
Radiant's
so
middle
badly.
tower is under attack.
Oh, OD, wicked
Dire's
6
top
streak.
tower is under
Ruination. It's all gone wrong.
I really like this max adaptive from Yang. He actually did not opt for very many points in Morph, either because he suspected that AA would be countering him, or he was just like, whatever, I don't need to change my HP that frequently. If I get caught, so be it. The rest of my team will kill you.
Well, this is what feels to be like exercise in futility. As dogfights, as just hoping to get something. Just please don't have vision. Just please leave me alone for a moment. They throw out the AA blast and throws out the track, and they'll be able to at least walk away not dying. So that's something.
Yeah, you know things are going poorly when you're like, thank God I didn't die. That went very well because I didn't die when they're in my own jungle.
That's the sort of small solace you can take. They are moving in towards mid, and DDC is left alone here. Any kill is great if it's a track kill, but I don't know if they're going to be able to find this ogre. Like, look, they're pinging out, and of course it's easy to harp upon, you know, IG.V for making these moves into the jungle when there's not going to be anybody there, but I don't know. It's tough. The game is hard. They're very far behind at this point. They're going to need a miracle.
All these smoke inks are coming off of, oh man, and that ward gets instantly countered.
Oh,
and
Yang? Going to high ground. He's not afraid. He does get sunned for the moment by the DK, but they are not looking to fight this. They do have another AA blast if they want to throw it out. The side of Vici Gaming is kind of grouped up here, but God, they're just burning through all of the armor that the DK has. The counter initiation comes in. They are going to be able to get the AA blast onto Ghost, but I don't think it's enough damage. Completely drained. Axe murdered in the river, and I think that they're going to be able to take down Super as well. The lonely ancient apparition, old man, Ice Globe's gonna get killed off. Juggernaut kills off the ogre on the other side, but I don't think it's nearly enough.
Oh man, I love max strength adaptive strike, because at this stage of the game, you don't expect to have to go up against a 4-second stun, 4.25 second stun, and and good game.
Wow. All right. They didn't even need it. They thought about it for a minute. You know what? We don't want to live in this world anymore. Let's take us out of here. So Vici Gaming take it 2-0. You said that that's what you wanted to see, Tsunami. Tell me what you thought about the series and these two teams.
Vici Gaming is a cut above, and it was shown both in drafting competency and in the way that they played, both, you know, individually within their lanes, and whenever they grouped up, it was perfection.
It looked very strong, definitely. Vici Gaming, just a very top-tier team. It's a hard life for IG.V fans, myself included. I really wanted to see them do well, and you know, I think that there are some positives to take on this. They played together as a team, sort of. It's just that it didn't feel like it was all there at the end. So Vici Gaming take the victory, and that means that they are going to move on. I'll have to check back in through the brackets to see who they're going to be facing, but they're done for today at the very least. So Vici Gaming finished. This is going to lead us in towards Braveheart versus ehome.k, and then our final game of the match is going to be, our final game of the day is going to be Newbie versus CDEC. Tsunami, thank you so much for joining me. Any final words before we sign off right here?
I'm going to go to sleep, and it was... It was everything I hoped and dreamed it would be, so thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Sleep well, and for everybody else, we're going to keep the stream going live. Hope that you guys have been enjoying it, and keep tuned in here because Shanghai Dota 2 Open is going to be back in just a little bit. See you guys then.